Hi, I'm Monica Cesarato, a food and travel blogger in Venice. Welcome to Venice Meets, a series of live chats from Instagram every day at 6 p.m. CET. Today, I will be talking to Liesl Odenweller, soprano and member of the Venice Music Project ensemble.
There she goes. Hello, Liesl. I
Hi,
hope
Monica.
you say your surname right because I can visualize in my head, but never.
No, it was right. In America, people pronounce it Odenweller, but in Europe, of course, people use the German pronunciation.
Okay, good.
I've learned not to get offended anyway.
Yeah, sorry. And I did German. That's the worst bit. I studied German many years ago. So
There you
sure
go.
you will but okay, my apologies. So, how are you, first of all?
I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, okay. It's getting harder. It's
Yeah,
getting harder. But
yeah.
today we're actually, I think, on the 30th day, are we? It was the 8th of March, but more or less we got in. So, yes.
Right.
So you are in Venice itself, yes?
I am in Venice. I'm in my living room. Yep.
Okay. So how many years have you been living in Venice?
I've been living in Venice for almost 22 years.
Oh, well, you're Venetian then. Yeah.
I'm better. I'm Judechina.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's even better. That's even better. Okay. And so tell us, what is the Venice Music Project then?
So, Venice Music Project was formed several years ago by a group of wonderful Baroque musicians who already had a reality here and had been. They used to be called once upon a time the Accademia di San Rocco, and you probably remember that like 20 years ago they had this amazing concert season at the Scuola Grande di San Rocco. And then they got so famous that they started touring all over the world, and they didn't have time to have their concerts here in Venice anymore. And a few of them got to the point where they realized that they just were kind of tired of going on tour all the time, and they wanted to have something going on in Venice again. At the same moment, just by chance, I was, my daughter was, in about third grade, terza elementare. And I realized, it became very obvious that she needed one of us to be home. My husband also travels all the time. And so we were kind of trying to figure out what to do. And this was just the perfect solution because I had worked a lot at the Fenice when she was little, and then there was a change of artistic direction and everything like that, and I wasn't getting contracts there anymore. So I was having to go away and, everything like that, but it just became obvious that something needed to happen for me to stay home more. And this just, kind of fell in my lap. These guys said to me, look, we want to start something in Venice again. We are not willing to sacrifice the level that we've been working at. And we wanted to be something very high quality, but also something very different from what's being offered in Venice. And would you be interested in doing it with me? And I was thrilled because these are some of the best Baroque musicians in the world. And it was such an honor for me to be asked to be a part of this. And so we started out, kind of nervously, but and we really... Yeah, but we really started out with absolutely nothing. I mean, we had this great idea, but we had absolutely nothing to do with it. No money, no funding, no anything. And
it's always the case that the best ideas are was a start usually with nothing.
yeah,
Just a lot of passion behind, and because they're fresh ideas, they usually work.
Yeah, yeah. And so we, the thing that they had always done, which we have kept doing, is, and which we've now called musical archaeology. So we are going constantly, and all of our musicians are great because they're doing this too, and they've all gotten excited about it. All of us, whenever we have a moment, are going into the libraries and the archives and finding pieces of music that haven't seen the light of day in 300, 400, 500 years. But
wow.
it's really exciting, and it's not because they're bad pieces of music. In fact, somebody said to me recently, yeah, well, it was probably not that great if it was forgotten. Really, Mozart came along and everybody forgot that there was anybody before Mozart, even though a lot of these composers and a lot of these pieces of music that we are performing in concert for the first time in modern day are pieces that Mozart was writing to his family about. So he was writing about Hasse, he was writing about Jomelli, he was writing about all these incredible composers, but then they just got completely eclipsed by him.
Wow, interesting. Also, suppose it's like all things, it's the same thing that happens here if you think about it nowadays. You have somebody that becomes famous because he has a good agent, he has a good marketing team behind, but doesn't necessarily mean he's that good. And then somebody that is very good but doesn't have a support kind of goes forgotten. And then all of a sudden somebody discovers him again. So yeah, makes sense. It totally makes sense. And are they generally, are you talking about Venetian composers or composers from all over, Europe, obviously?
We primarily focus on Venetian composers, or composers who at least spend a lot of time in Venice. Okay. But there is such a huge wealth of these composers out there. So we try to keep it kind of narrowed down. And since we're in Venice, since our concert season is in Venice, and we're all specialized really in the Venetian style also, from that period, and so it makes the most sense to really do mostly that. But we have a few musical voyages, as we call them, to other places. There was a lot of cross-pollination also, and for example, Jomelli was a Neapolitan composer who was brought up to Venice by Hasse, and so he was formative in the Neapolitan style in the Baroque period, and then he brought all of that up to Venice and added that to the Venetian style. So it's really interesting to see where ideas kind of crossed over, and I find it fascinating. I just love it.
And you bring back the story always that Venice has always been a melting pot. And
absolutely.
People, and it's and so open as well.
Yes.
To bring in.
Well, also, Monica, if you think about it, I mean, without what was happening in the musical scene in Venice in at least the 16 and 1700s, if not earlier, Western music as we know it now would not be the same. So your favorite hip hop song, your favorite rap song, your favorite, Mahler symphony, none of that would even remotely resemble what it sounds like today.
Yeah. Okay. So, how many people are in the project? In Venice, how many people play?
Well, because we have such wonderful musicians, they're not always all available, and so we range from anywhere from 3 or 4 musicians for a concert up to we performed at the Venice, and we had, I think, 22 in the orchestra.
Oh, wow.
And I was the soloist. We did a fabulous concert. Actually, the thing that really launched us was Save Venice asked us to perform a concert of some excerpts from Handel's oratorio Esther underneath the frescoes of Esther by Veronese in San Sebastiano when they had completed the first part of that restoration.
Wow.
Which
my God.
Such an amazing idea. It was Melissa's idea, who's the head of Save Venice.
That church must have been amazing.
It was amazing, and we felt like the church kind of came back to life during the rehearsals and during the concert. It was really incredible to feel the difference in the atmosphere in the church while we were doing that.
I visited, I think it was maybe last year, no, 2 years ago now, 2 years ago. And it was, and they were still in the middle of restoring it, but it was, I noticed immediately the acoustic when I went in there, because the guy that we were with wasn't shouting, and if he was speaking very softly, but as you should anyway when you're in a church, but you could hear it from anywhere. It was amazing. I thought, whoa! I thought, even for the and the choir and every stuff of us really beautiful. Okay, so how many years have you been singing for?
I've been singing forever. I made my professional debut when I was 16 in the Gilbert and Sullivan operetta.
So where do you actually come from?
I grew up in Bernardsville, New Jersey, which is in sort of northern New Jersey, west of Manhattan. Okay.
I thought you were Austrian somehow with your name.
I know a lot of people think that, but I'm a whole mix, as most Americans are. I'm a little bit of all of Northwestern Europe.
But you started young. Wow.
Well, we actually lived in Bermuda for 5 years when I was a child. And my parents pulled a very clever trick on us to pretend that our TV couldn't work. So we had 5 years with no TV. And we would actually have family musical evenings around the piano. And my dad would be playing the guitar, and my sister would be playing the recorder or whatever, and I would be singing. And, you know, but people just said from a very, very early age that I should be trained someday. And I fell in love with opera when I was 5. And that was just it. That was what I wanted to do.
You know, did you go to the equivalent of conservatory in America?
No, I didn't think I was good enough, so I wasn't going to apply. And
Venice? Oh my God! Amazing.
Well, my voice teacher got really mad at me because I told her that I had applied to Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, which is where I eventually ended up going. And she said, well, which conservatories are you applying to? And I said, I'm not applying to any conservatories. And she got so angry and made me apply to conservatories. But because I was accepted early decision at Trinity, it was binding, and so I had to go there. But I was happy that I did that because Trinity was a wonderful experience. I was able to take voice lessons and do a lot of vocal training at the Hart Conservatory in Hartford. And so I really got the best of both worlds. And at Trinity, I got to study all sorts of things that I never would have gotten to study at conservatory.
Yeah, maybe I think, I don't know. Maybe it gives you more of a freedom. You a bit more elastic. Maybe in the approach of I don't know. I see this on all levels. You know, it's like with cooks. If you go to cooking school, you follow. If you're actually self-taught, or if you go to cooking to another way, you generally tend to be a bit more elastic on things.
Yeah,
so you find that happens with you as well, maybe.
I think so, and I think there's give and take in everything. I mean, certainly I probably missed out on opportunities by not having gone to conservatory that I would have had if I'd been there, connections that I might have made or something like that. But, you know, I've always done things the alternative way and usually the most difficult way possible.
How did you end up in Venice then?
Well, I met my husband in Rome, but he's also American. And we moved back to New York, but we spent a month here in Venice before we moved back. And that was when we really got to see how amazing the quality of life is and what it's really like to live here. And so we decided that someday we wanted to come back and live here, but it happened very quickly, actually. So it was really a very lucky thing, and we love living here. We just can't, have never stopped being in love with it.
Is he a musician as well, your husband?
No, thank God.
You shouldn't say that.
Well, there are musician couples that work well, but he, you can only have one crazy person in the family. You've got to have one serious person. So
listen, you have a child into music too.
No, so he is a consultant. He teaches people. Actually, he's about to launch a course on how to speak online in circumstances like this.
Okay,
he's
thank you very much.
Monica, you don't need it. Okay, you definitely don't need it.
Okay,
but
thanks.
It's in this new reality that we're in. He actually does this. He's been teaching courses like this for a long time, but this is his own kind of design of a course with a colleague and friend. And, all of a sudden, so many of us have been thrown into this situation of having to do this and having to be interesting and dynamic and fun and everything. And that doesn't come naturally to everybody.
Yeah, that's
My
true.
daughter's been complaining about her teachers, and she said, Mom, they're boring in person, a lot of them, but, online, they're even more boring.
Oh my God!
I hope none of them are listening.
My problem, for example, has always been I from the first time somebody placed a camera and a microphone in front of my face, I loved it. It was like I don't know, but in English.
Yeah.
Do not ask me to do the same thing in Italian. I mean, I can do Instagram stuff, but place in front of me a microphone and a camera and ask me to speak in Italian, I get as self-conscious as can be.
That's interesting. Do you find... Go ahead, sorry.
It's the language.
Yeah.
In English, I don't care if I make mistakes. because I know you guys know I'm Italian, and you think, oh well, okay, she's you're allowed. In Italian, I'm not allowed to make mistake. I'm not allowed to think about the word. Not on camera, not. And I don't like for people to see that I'm stuck for words. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's always, because it always happens to me. If I speak with friends, now it's fine. But if I have like for a TV show or an interview stuff, I'm like, I got to have my water and everything. I don't know.
Do you find that your personality changes between the two languages?
No.
No?
No. With me, no. No, I'm always like this.
Okay. No, I'm just curious, because some people are quite different if they're speaking different languages.
Let's say that in English, maybe No, I'm the same. Maybe in English, my sense of humor comes out more, because I do tend to have more of a British sense of humor rather than an Italian one. So I find that the reaction from the Anglo-Saxon, usually they get my joke straight away.
Yeah.
The Italians sometimes are like, all right, they don't get so much irony. Sometimes I'm very harsh with people, and Italians, you lived in Italy a long time, and I'm Italian. But the biggest fault of Italians for me is that not many know how to laugh at themselves. So when you actually, is that true or what? Yeah. Okay. So when you actually say something, and you actually saying it as a joke, and I think the greatest gift for somebody is to be able to laugh at themselves. So not women, just men. I know that probably in Italy, So I find it that in English I can do it, and from the other side, people will go with me with the flow. Italians sometimes I see them; they have a bit of a problem with that, but it's culture. I just think it's culture.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't know. I need to ask. You need to ask Cecilia. If I ask, if my personality changes in Italian now, I think I'm crazy on both.
We'll have to make an experiment and see.
So, where do usually Venice Music Project perform? Usually,
we perform at St. George's Anglican Church in Venice, in Campo San Vio, which is a great location, and the acoustics are wonderful, and we really love being there. I've been going to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Years ago, I went to a Christmas performance, and there were some. I think they were a singer, a choir from Cambridge. I think he was.
Yeah. They
Oh,
often come for Christmas.
I mean, yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. Do you actually perform from the back or actually from the front?
Occasionally we perform from the back, but it's difficult for an audience to be listening because even if we turn, now there's flexible seating. They took out the pews last year because there was a Biennale gallery going on there. But before that, there were the pews, but now we could turn the chairs. But it's, people have to look up and it's uncomfortable for a while. And we really, one of the wonderful things that we enjoy is being able to be very intimate with our audience and be very close to them, because not a lot of people get to experience live music, especially opera singing and musicians like that up close. So we have, even when we have as many as 100 people at concerts, we are still very close to them and very intimate. And I love to interact with the audiences and look at people and smile at them and everything else. And so we like to be down. We used to have our performances only from the altar, and then everybody was in the pews. But then when they took the pews out, we started experimenting with the space. And we actually did a couple of concerts in the very middle of the church with a circle, an oval really, of chairs around us, so that I was constantly walking around and, trying to sing to everybody while the other musicians were staying still. And then we finally settled on the side wall, which has incredible acoustics. And so we were set up along the side wall, and then we had semicircles of chairs for the clients to sit in, for our audience to sit in.
I think it's a beautiful. Sally, I will ask the questions in a second to Liesl, I just want to ask a few things first about the Venice Music Project. I think one of the most beautiful thing about what you're saying is that in Venice, we do know that there are ways to go and listening to music and not necessarily going to the Fenice. There are other concerts that are offered, but I like the fact that you're not offering the classical, and Vivaldi and this, and I really, really enjoy that. I mean, I was supposed to come and see.
I know. Well, we really, I think that, I think it's amazing and it makes a lot of sense for groups to play the Four Seasons, but Vivaldi wrote so much other amazing music, and that's the music that we present because, let's be honest, as good as our musicians are, their musicians are playing it every single night of the week. We can't touch them. There's no way we could become as good as that because they've been doing it for 30 years. I mean, so
and you shouldn't anyway.
It's a different reality. It's a totally different reality, and I have total respect for them. But we wanted to do something different. We wanted to kind of celebrate the unsung heroes of Venice's musical heritage and really.
And I don't think you're not doing it for the tourists. You're doing it for the locals too.
No. Yeah, we have a lot of subscribers, and every year we have more subscribers, and they're people who come. We change our program every single week too. So we're performing from usually, not right now, from the beginning of March till the end of June, and then from the beginning of September till the end of November. So we perform about 50 concerts every year.
Wow.
And we change the program every single weekend. And it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of studying music and
rehearsal. Oh my God.
Yeah, organization and everything, and so, but it's great, and we're very happy, and we're a nonprofit. We're not commercial. We lose money on pretty much every concert because we definitely, well, we're pragmatic about it, and we fortunately were able to open a nonprofit in the U.S. And so through that, we raise money and people are able to get a tax deduction for it. People are also able to do that in the UK. And, we're just realistic. Our budget is tiny. You wouldn't believe what we do with such a tiny budget. And we're very, very careful about it. But we raise about a third of our budget, which is pretty normal for a nonprofit, like an orchestra, anywhere from a small orchestra to a big opera company in the US. That's their business model. The only difference is that they have corporate sponsorships, which we aren't yet able to apply for, but hopefully when this is all over and people are thinking about culture again, which will hopefully be soon, we will be able to do that again.
Do you get any support from the city of Venice or not?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Do you get any support from the city of Venice or not?
No, we get the patrocinio. We applied for patrocinio from the region and the comune, but that they don't give us any money.
Wow. So they just put the name as they usually do, nice face, they come and show up, and that's so you need a sponsor. Okay, we got to work on that, woman.
We'll work on that. Absolutely.
Okay, that's one of my missions. Okay. One of the questions here that's got nothing to do with the music, it's got to do with you. So I wanted to know is, do you speak Italian? Of course you do.
Certo.
How did you learn?
I was very lucky because when I was in my next to last year of high school, I grew up in a community in New Jersey where there was a big Italian-American community, and they kept asking that local high school to offer Italian as one of the languages. So one of our wonderful French teachers, who was half Italian, went at his own expense to Middlebury College 2 summers in a row. For the first summer to learn how to teach the first year of Italian, the second summer to learn how to teach the second year. And I benefited from that because while I was already studying French, I was also able to add Italian my last 2 years of high school. And then at Trinity, which has an incredibly strong Italian program, as well as a campus in Rome, I was able to study Italian almost every semester. But then I moved to Rome, and I could read the newspaper, I could write a beautiful essay, but I was terrified to open my mouth and speak.
That's typical when you learn a language, is absolutely normal.
Yeah.
I remember, I keep telling, when Cecilia first moved in, the first couple of days I could say to her, remember, the first month is 30 days, literally. The first month you can put an egg on your forehead and you will fry. And it is, because your connection in your brains are trying to mix and connect again and whatever. After a month, instead, all of a sudden, you start to differentiate between the words. You hear the pauses. You might not know the words, but you understand that they are separate words. And then it slowly comes, So yes.
And it's exhausting at first. It's absolutely exhausting. Oh gosh.
You go to the end of it now, in the evening, you're like, told you can fry an egg on your forehead. There's so many calories. It's unbelievable. I remember it when I moved to England, and I could speak English because I studied 5 years at Algarotti. So
I was going to ask you,
my English wasn't perfect, wasn't good, but it was English. And I remember, oh my God. And I made a point not to stay with Italians. I made a point to stay only with English people.
Yeah.
But, I remember the first month in tears.
Yeah.
And then slowly, it helps. So, and I think one thing, for people that want to move or want to learn a language, watch TV, listen to the music. Now that you got internet, watch everything in the language, and then
the thing that really helped me was to watch really bad 1980s sitcoms in Italian, dubbed into Italian, because the language was very simple, like Happy Days and Starsky and Hutch and all those things. They were so stupid, and they were made my brain go numb. But on the other hand, the language just really helped me to pick it up. But I also, I was telling Cecilia this the other day, when I would be walking around Rome, I was living in Rome when I first moved to Italy, and I would force myself to actually think in Italian.
Yes.
So as I was walking around, instead of thinking, oh, what a pretty tree, oh, look at that car, I would make myself do it in Italian. And if I didn't know a word, I would stop, I would pull my dictionary out, and I would look it up. And it was also, excruciating at first, but that really helped me as well.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing, but with soap opera. And in England, of course, there was also soap opera. So I can tell you, soap operas. When I got pregnant, so I was watching all the children's programs. Oh my God, the CBBC made my life. And I did exactly the same things, going around and reading. I remember reading the books to my children when they were with my first child, Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh my God, and putting all the voices, and putting all the voices, and listening to Ringo Starr reading it. So try to get to the same accent. That's actually very good, and it's very important, I think, when you move. And I suppose also a lot of music is written in Italian anyway.
Of course,
I know it's the same Italian, but still.
Yeah, no, and I knew fairly, but I guess I was already in high school when I knew that I was probably going to end up coming to Italy to study after college, and so the dear friend of my father, who was the one who was very instrumental in my coming to Rome, was the one who said, look, Liesl, you've got to learn how to speak Italian. That's going to be the big thing for you. And it has been. And of course, French and German have been very important for me too. I speak very bad German, and it's gotten worse because I don't spend a lot of time there anymore. But, it makes a huge difference. And I can always tell when a singer actually speaks and understands Italian and when they don't.
Oh yes. Oh, you get it straight away from the pronunciation, and it's not.
Yeah, but also you can see the connection. You can see and the little tiny emphases and everything. It's so.
I think also when you sing in it, in a way, I notice it from the words. Because you're not just singing them, you actually know what you're singing. So when you sing them in a slightly, different way, the expression and everything. Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And that's why sometimes when I listen to certain singers, opera singers that are not Italians, and I can't understand. I get the music, but I don't understand the words. It's like, no, is that okay? It's like, all right, okay. Yeah. So yeah. What's happening with the Venice Music Project? How many did you were not in the season, were you?
We should have started our season on March 1st, And we were hoping right up till the end. It was when they were still kind of figuring out the whole lockdown thing. We were hoping we could start. Then we were hoping that on the 8th of March we could have our, and then it just became very obvious that it wasn't going to happen. At this point, I would be surprised if we could start before September.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I don't think anything's going to be able to happen before then, and we'll have to see.
I think even if they allow us out of a lockdown, the quarantine, let's say the beginning of May, middle of May, I think it's gonna be. They're gonna have so many restrictions. They're not gonna allow any event and stuff. And of course, this kind of event is one of the first that they're not gonna definitely allow. And that is such a pity. Then you're gonna have to go in the middle of the lagoon with a boat.
Actually, I have spent the past 3 or 4 days in close contact with 2 musicians who work with me, who are also wonderful friends, and we have been recording socially distanced pieces. And we're going to be releasing them soon. We were actually commissioned to do this by a place called Monteverdi, Tuscany, where we've performed several times. And they were the ones who kind of proposed it to us. They said they've decided that they're going to have some of their musicians who perform there regularly offer these pieces. And so we started to record them for them, and we're about to send off that project to them. But then, the church asked, St. George's asked if we could do something for Easter. So we're doing something for Easter. And then, so we're actually having a really good time doing it. And
so what do you do it on Zoom?
No, there is I don't know, I'm not doing the actual putting it together, but Federico Tofano.
And then you send it off.
Yeah, so each of us, Federico Tofano, our wonderful cellist, has been recording the cello part, and then he sends it to me, and I record my part, listening in my headset and recording on the iPad, so it's a little bit weird. Because then I go and look at it, and you just hear me. You see me smiling and looking like an idiot, and maybe bopping to the music, and then I sing, and there's it's weird. It's really weird. And then he puts it all together, and it comes out somehow. It's not perfect, and if we had a proper recording studio or something like that, it would be a lot better. But it's fun, and we'll see where it goes.
They asking me, can you practice at home? If so, the neighbors must love it.
Well, I've always practiced at home, and I've always had wonderful neighbors. Now, we just moved in January to a house that is much more secluded, and so I have a room where I can practice without worrying about anybody hearing me. But the thing is, when they hear me singing arias, okay, that's, I'm sure that they enjoy that, but I do really weird warm-ups, and I make very strange noises when I'm warming up my voice. So that part is really not pleasant to listen to. No, it's weird stuff. It's really weird stuff. It's like it's weird.
I know. Many years ago, I used to sing in a choir, so I remember all the preparation. Yeah. Well, no, they did in a choir. Forget it. It's just
there's no such thing as just.
Yeah, well. Did you actually get to sing on the balcony with everybody else on the day where everybody was singing?
I didn't, because I was having terrible allergies, and I could not sing one note without coughing my head off.
And then straight with it.
And then people were like, ah! So I just thought, this is not going to be a good idea.
I would have sent the police.
Exactly. Arrest her!
La peste. That would have been oh my God, yes, but and everybody said to me, did you go and sing? I said, I'm in the middle of the countryside. There's nobody around.
Well, and I have to say, where I live on the Giudecca, our windows face the Giudecca Canal, so even if I was out there singing, maybe if somebody was walking along the Fondamenta, they'd hear me, but really I'd be singing kind of to the seagulls, and that would be it. So I don't know that they'd appreciate it that much. They'd probably come poop on my head or something.
So how do you find it living on the Giudecca? What's different at Giudecca from the rest of Venice, in your opinion?
Well, at the moment, it's not that different because all of Venice is so quiet. But usually, the big difference between the Giudecca and the rest of Venice is that it's so quiet. It's so it's much more real life. It's not touristy. Tourists have discovered it in the past few years, but it's still very, very calm, and families are here, and it's just a lovely existence. And then we also get to look back at Venice. If you live in Venice and you're looking at the Giudecca, it's not so pretty. But if we get to look at Venice and have these amazing views.
I know. I think also one great thing about the Giudecca is a part of that is becoming the art district of Venice, and that's beautiful. Yeah. I think that the good thing about Giudecca is that, yes, it has been discovered, but because it's a bit of a track to come there in a way, people come only if they want to come. Yeah. So it's people that did a little bit of research, that come because they want to go and see an art gallery or a certain, maybe the Redentore Church is something specific, or they're staying at the Hilton and they're having a nice walk. So it is not, as you say, not mass tourism, and I hope it stays the same. I hope it's not going to,
Well, so
the only thing is because you see those horrible, ugly cruise ship passing by, do you?
It's shocking to see something so big going past. It's really, every single time it's just, it blocks out all of Venice. It's really kind of astounding.
And sometimes you get to see them like 10 times a day or something like that.
Yeah, in the very, very, the very trafficked part of the year. I think everybody's hoping that we can press the reset button on Venice and, get everybody to restrain themselves and not be panicked and, wanting everything to go back the way it was. And just, kind of figure out a way to help have a more manageable and a more real existence here, not just be this factory, this tourism factory.
I got interviewed the other day by a young gentleman, a student in Germany that's doing a thesis on over-tourism in Venice. And it was very interesting because he interviewed all the possible professors of, of the subjects. And then he wanted to talk to local people and stuff. So he wanted my opinion as a blogger because he saw that I wrote about the tourism and stuff. So he was asking me what I thought about it, and I gave my idea. But then he says, everybody keeps telling me what they thought about it, but nobody's giving me solutions. Well, I said, well, actually, the solution, in my opinion, are actually fairly easy. To not as much for the cruise ship, because that's another story, but to reduce in a way to still have a lot of tourists, but the right tourists, because we have to remember Venice can take 200,000 people, 200,000 people within the city. So it's not like the city cannot cope with a certain number of people. It cannot cope with a certain number of people that come only for the day and don't spend money in the city. That's the problem. So if those 200,000 people came and all stayed minimum a week, it would be completely different, because then you will need all the little shops. You will need all the artisans, because those 200,000 people that come and stay for a week, they don't come to buy the little Chinese souvenirs. They don't come to the fast food and the horrible places. They don't come to do the Mordi Fuji, the fast tourists. They come to live Venice, not to visit, to live it. And to live meet the locals, live like a local. So I think the solutions are easy. Airbnb, you want to have an Airbnb? Fine. Minimum 1 week.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Not to stay a week. Otherwise, it goes to a hotel. Artisans, for crying out loud, they are the backbone of the city. Have fixed rentals. Impose fixed rental based on the earnings. So if 1 month he doesn't earn a lot of money, he doesn't pay a lot. All in proportion. That way he can make a living of it. And he's bringing prestige to the city. the same with restaurant. Incentivate local restaurants rather than, but also allow maybe ethnic, but always proper, having to use local produce. The solutions are there if you want to.
Of course, yeah.
Just
let's hope everybody wants them.
Yeah, the problem is it depends. I always say Venice is a fat cow, and so far everybody wants to milk her and nobody wants to feed her.
Yeah.
That's
And I have to say that one of the goals of Venice Music Project is to give back to the city. What our philosophy from the very beginning, especially because we didn't have any money when we first started out, and as a nonprofit, we probably will never have a lot of money, but we decided that we wanted to donate to the restoration of the spaces where we perform, rather than paying rent. And we have made that agreement with each place that we've performed, and it's been really successful because then those places have had that income to be able to restore their spaces that they wouldn't normally have had, and we feel like we're putting positive energy back into the city, aside from the musical side. And it's really been wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised that you haven't got a patronage, that you don't have sponsors, because this is so, this is what the city needs, It's
a kind of,
it is not just what you think, it is what the city needs, and also the Venetians themselves. And, I think as the Venetians themselves should promote this kind of, your project. I think when we finally open the world again, as I say, I think it's a time where the Venetians stop mourning and start acting and start working as a network, and maybe stop thinking about profit for a moment and start working together, even if you're not in the same sort of business, but trying to liaise and to promote the city in a better way. Because so far I don't know you, but I'm fed up, and so is Romena, because we talk about this every single day. We're fed up with some photos of Venice empty.
Yeah, exactly. And, and be able to, there are so many people living on the mainland who would love to live in Venice, but can't because everything's on Airbnb, the rentals are too high, even students. I mean, it's almost impossible for students to find housing.
Exactly. There should be a system by which you got apartments you want to rent, good. You're obliged, at least, you got 2 apartments, 1 you must rent to a local. Simple as that. And the other you do it as the rules can be there, it's just, I just hope we're coming out of this in a better, I don't know.
I hope so too. I know. I hope so too.
Well, listen, have you done, first of all, I always ask everybody to have something unmade. Did you remember? Oh, shit. Yeah, you're here. Did you remember? I always ask somebody.
Yes, I have.
Yes. Oh, by the way,
yes, I noticed my beautiful Cagliandra.
I noticed it on your picture.
Gualti.
Is absolutely, I love it.
Isn't that wonderful?
It is beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous? And I got earrings too. I don't know how well you can see them. But the amazing thing is that it fastens. I'm about to lose my headpiece here. It fastens with a magnet.
Okay. Oh, I would be so worried I'd lose that.
And no. It's great, and it's so lightweight and flexible.
Yeah. Just want to talk about them, so we tell the people who they, because I know who they are, but.
So Gualti, actually, I'm wearing more than just the necklace, because the top that I'm wearing that you can't really see is made by his partner Massimo Mazzariol, sorry. And he is a wonderful clothing designer who has his own company in Mestre of clothes, all made in Italy. They're all made actually right there in his laboratory in Mestre. And the company is called Opale. And they sell to a lot of very fancy shops. There's a very fancy shop opposite the Hotel Monaco that carries their entire line. They're actually being sold in the US under another label right now. And I can let you know what that label is. And so Massimo's been making my gowns for years. And now I just go and pick out things from his collection because it's all so beautiful. And so I always have amazing gowns that he's made for me. And Gualti has been making my jewelry for so many years, and this Caliandra is just so beautiful.
Amazing. I know. I was watching it before on the picture. I was going, oh my God, that is so beautiful. You know.
Do you know him? Have you ever been to his shop?
No, I haven't been to shop, but I know them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, as you know, Alessia, actually, Marisa Conveitov is watching. She's my first.
I love Marisa. Yes, of course, and her jewelry is beautiful too.
Yeah, I'm a glass player.
Yeah. Well, these are Swarovski crystals, and then there's a glass center. Oh, maybe there's not a glass center in this one. But
the stopper you have on the picture is amazing. The color is fantastic. So you can do the sign as well.
I'm sorry.
The sign for the Venice Music Project, so people know where to find you.
I didn't hear the first part of what you said. I'm sorry.
Have you got this? Hold on, let me show you. Did you do the sign like this?
Oh, I didn't. I must have missed that. Oh.
Okay, don't worry. Va bene.
Okay.
Where do we find the Venice Music Project? Do you have a website?
We have a website. It's www.venicemusicproject.it. And we also have a website for our US-based nonprofit, which is friendsofvenicemusicproject.com. And if anybody would like to help us out, we would be very grateful. And but on the venicemusicproject.it website, there are all of our concerts, all of the concerts we wish we were having right now. We were supposed to have one this evening. In fact, I would have been just about to sing right now. And we had a great lineup for Easter and everything. But keep in touch, and you can sign up for our newsletter, and we'll keep you informed. We're trying to keep everybody very happy musically and make the world a little bit of a better place in this crazy time.
So we can find you also on Facebook and on Instagram with the same Venice
Music Project. Yes, absolutely.
That's good. Look, it was so nice talking to you, Liesl.
It was great.
I hear that you go once a week to do your shopping and you support the local markets. Is that true?
Yes,
because what's happening? Let's plan in Venice. Everybody thinks Venice deserted. Yeah, the streets are deserted, but the city is lived in.
Absolutely.
And there are shops little shops that are trying to stay open.
Yes.
And you can. How do you get your fruit and vegetables then?
Well, I go to the organic market right near Piazzale Roma, which is there Thursday mornings. And they have fabulous fruit and vegetables, which are local. They also have a wonderful person who comes with bread from a wood-burning oven. And they have a lovely lady who brings cheese and yogurt and raw milk and sausages and all sorts of things from somewhere up in the mountains, but local still. And there's a wonderful man who brings honey. And it's just a lovely market. I've been going there for years, and the people are great. I also go to an organic grocery store. I happen to be on the Giudecca lucky enough to have one of the best butchers and one of the few butchers left in Venice. And so I go to her for all the meat. And I really try, as you say, I try to keep these small businesses going and to support them. There's a wonderful, one of the last salumerias is here on the Giudecca, and it's this lovely old couple, and I go buy my prosciutto and my cheese there from them just to keep, it's a terrible time for everybody, but we've got to try to help each other out.
It's one particular thing I like of the Giudecca because of all of Venice. The few times I come is exactly that. But as you're walking along, there are still the little shops, and it's not run over by. Well, I've never even seen any souvenir shop.
No.
There are shops.
There was a mask shop that was here for a while, but I think it didn't have a lot of success.
You actually got a bookstore from Libreria Marco Polo. You got beautiful galleries. You have some beautiful restaurants there. It's actually a beautiful and the big hostel as well. So it's young people coming in and making a noise. And it's it's one. I think is one of my favorite. The Ghetto is my favorite. Burano, and then you have a Giudecca.
Wow.
that are, if I have to choose, somebody said to me, where we go, when people ask me, where are you taking me today? Friends coming over. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
These
great.
I love
That's
it.
a lot of ground to cover, though.
No,
Those are not exactly close together.
No, different days. You're talking to the one that's promoting slow tourism.
Yes.
It's one
This
day.
is true.
One day each. So for me, Giudecca is one day every Giudecca. You go in the morning, you will leave in the evening. I have my itinerary starting from, oh yes, is starting from San Giorgio, doing over San Giorgio, top up in at the top, and then you walk all along the Giudecca. You stop at Maier for a snack or whatever, and then you carry on walking, you visit at the back and whatever, and then you finish at the Hilton at the rooftop for a drink in the evening.
Oh, fabulous. That sounds great.
Easily do it slowly, and I've taken a lot of people doing it that way, and we never ever met any crowds whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's oh sugar, I just stole my tips. Now everybody's gonna do it.
Oh no. But after this is all over, come to the Giudecca and I'll show you my Giudecca.
Oh, well, the back one, years ago, I came to see, actually twice I came to see the Redentore. One from one of the Altana, and another one from the back. It was a bit, no, it wasn't the Redentore, it was some, I can't remember what, it was a bit, it was a coronation of a queen. The anniversary of a coronation of a queen of England with the expat group, so we went at the back, where they got the square and stuff like that. So that was interesting.
Oh, how great!
Listen, it was lovely talking to you. I hope we're gonna be able to see you soon for a drink.
Yes, same here. I hope so too. And I have to say that this is a first for me because I've never been able to wear my fuzzy slippers before during an interview.
Look, you see me from here, you don't want to see what's underneath. I always say, I have a pair of pajama bottoms that usually I wore every single day since the lockdown started. I do one. I do have a dryer, so in the evening I go to wash and dry by the morning they're clean, okay? But they are my, combat pants. And I tell you what's going to be hard when back to life, back to bras. That's gonna be.
Well, a friend of mine said that instead of wearing your pajamas, if you're worried about fitting into your bathing suit in the summer, you should walk around in your bathing suit during the lockdown. Then you won't have to worry anymore about it.
I'm stopped more years ago. Listen, I do cooking lessons. You think I'm gonna worry about bathing suits? I stopped thinking about that a long time. I just don't go to the Okay, so lovely talking to you. I can't wait now to come and see it. A concert, Mamma Mia.
Well, let's hope it can happen soon, and we'll be in touch. But thank you for inviting me. It's been great.
And let me know as soon as you have a video going, so we promote you all over. Okay.
Thank you.
And pretty soon the interview, I'm working on it. The interview will be on YouTube as well. So then I will tag in Venice Music Project. So if you want to share it around, okay?
Wonderful. I certainly will.
And stay indoors, stay safe, please, and say
you too.
Okay, with all your family. Ciao, ciao, cara.
Ciao, ciao, Monica. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ciao.